Hello friends, today we would be looking at aggregate functions in Excel. Aggregate functions in Excel can be categorized into four types. Sum functions, the function which does averages, which counts the number of data sets which is given, and subtotal, which is combination of all the three types of functions which we discussed above. Each of these functions can be rewritten with a set of conditional parameters such that we get a set of output. So first let's look at the sum function, which its own conditional formats. The sum function can be written as shown in the screen, where we have sum, and inside the parenthesis we will be giving the different sets of arguments. It can be argument 1, 2, 3 and so on. Where we have summation of long ranges. You cannot use this summation because you cannot be entering each argument and keep summing it. So what you do is you go for ranges. So it will be range 1 comma range 2 and so on. Now let's go to the Excel and see how this sum function can be used. In this sheet I have taken 20 students with their marks in English language and mathematics. I put the passing marks as 60. So based on 60 it appears how many students have passed in English and how many students have passed in mathematics. We have also calculated the average of English and mathematics. So here itself you can see basic function of average, where you do average of C2 comma E2, which is the first student's marks in English and in mathematics. Now let's go back to some functions which we started off on. So this is the summation of all the marks which is scored by all the 20 students in the subject of English can be done in this format from C2 to C21. So I have taken the whole range rather than adding C1 comma C2 comma C3 comma C4 and so on. Gives me the summation of all the marks scored by the students in that class. Now if I wanted to summation of those students marks who have passed in the English language, so I use a Sumif condition. You can see here Sumif. So first is the condition range. The condition range is their passing range, can be seen in blue here. So if they have passed, the condition is passed, only then the summation from C2 to C21, which is the range of their marks, will be calculated. So let's see the answer. It is 511.75. Now let's put a filter over here on the pass. So I have put a filter and the summation here is also 511.75, which is equivalent to the summation which we have already got. Now we'll go to the third function in sum category, which is Sumifs. I am going to calculate summation of average marks scored by those students who have passed in both the subject. Two sets of conditions to be satisfied. First condition, they have to pass. The first condition here you can see here 2, they have is the range of passing in English, that has to be passed. Similarly F2, which is the passing range for mathematics, and that has to be also passed. Only then the summation of the aggregate marks can be applied here. It is 445. Rather than finding out a pass or fail condition here by using if statement, we can put this also as a criteria itself, which can be seen in this formula. Here I have put the formula calculation based on the marks they have applied. If and only if both the passing marks are greater than 60, English marks C1 to C21 and mathematics marks from E2 to E21 is greater than 60, only then you get the sum of the averages. Now let's go to average. You have already seen averages, how we are doing it for individual numbers. Now we can see average for the range. I have given range as we have done for the summation. Similarly repeating average if as we have done for Sumif. If we wanted to find an average of all those students who have passed in both the subjects, average of their average marks is 75.73. We can also extend this for count functions. The count function is also same. Count also has an extension to count blanks. So if we have a student who has not appeared for the exam, like you can see here, student 8 could not appear, so his marks is missing here. So count blank gives you the count of all those data elements where the resultant is a blank. So this student 8 who has not appeared, the count of blanks shows me that result. Now we go to the last function, which is subtotal. Subtotal is the summation of all these aggregate functions which you have already seen based on its reference function. So as the reference function changes, the output of the subtotal changes. I have used subtotal for finding the sum again. The number is 9, so I have given 9 here. So you can see the output is same. Similarly, here we are using subtotal, giving 1 gives you the average, 2 gives you the count of it. The last function of the day which we will be seeing is Sumproduct. Sumproduct function can be used to find the product of sum of all the ranges which you have given it. Let's see it with an example. So I have two sets of items which is being sold in a shop. So this 10 is the output of what has been sold in the shop for the current day, the different price ranges for both the items, and what quantity have they been sold. So there have been 10 transactions, 2 items which has been sold. So let's find out what is the average price of the item being. The first thing is I am finding out what is the item being sold, for which the calculations are being done. So it is sum product of the first range has to be equal to this thing which I am finding into the quantity. How does this sum product work? For every entry of item 1, it will give an output 1 here, and it will multiply with the quantity, and it will add it up and give you a total of how many items has been sold. So if I filter here item 1 here and find the quantity, you will find 138 items of item 1 has been sold. So the number is 138 over here. Similarly, if you want to find out total value of that, you multiply the same with both the ranges. You multiply price into quantity for the condition of item range is equal to the condition which you have given, which is item 1. So you see the output. Even if I multiply all the selected entries against the current item, it will give you the same result. So how do I find the average price at which it is sold? I just divide the total value by the quantity being sold. I hope this explanation was helpful to understand the aggregate functions. Please like and subscribe for continuing following this YouTube channel. Thank you.